Hello, this is Dead Hamster, and today we're going to be showcasing Build 3 of the OverKart 64 hack. This is the first major release for OverKart 64. It contains 16 brand new custom courses, as well as a series of available hacks to allow for practicing speedruns and other multiplayer enhancements. So we're going to go ahead and showcase the entirety of the hack, that is all 16 custom levels, as well as all the custom mod options available. And we're going to be doing this on an actual N64 console. The mod is completely console compatible, with the only exception being that you are required to have an expansion pack. All the new code that's running alongside Mario Kart 64's existing game code does exist in the expansion pack, and we do need that extra space in order to load and run everything. Otherwise, though, again, it is completely compatible with the console, and we're going to go ahead and switch over to that now to showcase everything. So, loading up the main menu here, you would normally come into the game options menu. This has 4 options that allows you to set and override options that would normally be placed by the game itself. You can define a specific CC mode, so if you want to do time trials at 150 CC speed, you would be able to do so by setting it here. Additionally, you can override mirror mode or extra mode. Normally extra is played at 100 CC. With this, you could play it at either 50 or 150. All the battle courses are already symmetrical, so it won't have any impact there, but mirror mode can be enabled directly here from the menu. The AI state allows you to force versus characters in 2, 3, and 4 player to be AI, as well as using what we call the debug AI. This has both the human and computer properties set to true, and it has some weird parameters because of that. So again, that has options to force those on. The final option, Racer Stats, allows you to set the stats for all 8 characters to a specific character in the game. So in this case, all the characters would have the same stats as Yoshi, the same stats as Donkey Kong, as Wario, etc. This way, it doesn't matter who you pick. If you're trying to do a fair versus match, this will ensure that everybody is playing at the exact same level with the same characters, so to speak. Mod options, if you go to the right, 4 more options: practice mode, input display, and details. We're going to show all of these. Practice mode showcases 2 sets of practice hacks that make it a bit easier and a bit more less stressful to practice speed runs. Of course, you wouldn't be able to use these in the actual run, but for practicing, again, it is intended to make the process a little less stressful. The input display runs in the game code itself. It is a display of what buttons are being pressed. It shows up in the bottom right of the screen. The details are the X, Y, Z coordinates, the angle of the player, and the current speed on each axis. So we'll again show that more in depth. Force items, you would be able to set and force every human character to get items of a specific place. So if you wanted to practice speed runs where you were always getting 8th place items, or if you wanted to just do a versus match where everyone was always getting power items, you could set it to whatever you were looking, whatever options it may be. The last menu are render options. There's toggles for widescreen and the anti-aliasing. The anti-aliasing is actually backwards. It's an oversight. It should be, when it's turned on, that is actually disabling anti-aliasing. So normally you would want to leave that to off so that the anti-aliasing is still being used. Again, turning it on will disable it. The screen split showcases a prototype screen split that Nintendo had started to work on. It is not finalized. The E's, or the smoke, when drifting, don't show up in 2-player vertical mode. It is available, though, if you wanted to use it, especially for widescreen TVs. It's a bit nicer sometimes splitting it down the center of the screen. The last option is the game tempo. It has options for either console or emulator. If you're on a console, you'd pick the console. Emulator is emulator. There's a bit of code in the physics to accommodate for slower courses where they're actually wired to run faster on multiplayer, depending on how many players are in the game. When playing on an emulator, though, which is capable of running the game at a proper speed, even with multiple characters on the tricky levels, so to speak, you end up running the game at 3 or sometimes even 4 times the normal speed. Obviously, that's bad. Turning the emulator option on will disable that. Leaving console on will allow you to play normally on an N64. So again, we're going to turn these three options on. We'll leave that to default, and everything else we will leave to default as well. Except for widescreen, because I want to leave that on. So we should be all set. We can press the A button to get into the game. From here, we're going to go ahead and select Time Trials to showcase all the things I was just speaking about. And we'll just pick Luigi's Raceway, something basic to showcase it on. So you'll notice in the upper left it says Practice On. If you're using any of the mod options, it'll print a little anti-cheat message just to make sure that this isn't used for an actual speedrun. In the bottom right, you can see the input display that shows the R, L, C buttons, A and B, start, and the control stick. So wherever the player is, whatever input the player is currently holding will be displayed onto the screen. Right there, smack dead in the center, you can see the coordinates. The X, Y, and Z values are printed out, as well as the angle that the player is currently looking at. The values on the right-hand side are the speed. So the speed is split up along the three axes. You have the X speed, the Y speed, and the Z speed going down this way. And then the last value is the angular speed, or the absolute speed. That's the speed of the player that they're actually traveling along all three axes. The actual speed the player is going at, some kind of equation based on the angle and the other speeds calculated. Again, that's the player's actual speed that they're traveling at. This should make it much easier to both create demonstration videos for shortcuts, as well as to learn shortcuts. I think that knowing the exact position and angle that you need to be at will make it much easier to demonstrate shortcuts to other players and for people to learn them. Again, obviously you cannot use this for an actual speedrun, but being able to learn how the tricks are performed and then actually go out and do it with the regular console, again, I think this will be a great learning tool. Going back now, I'm going to showcase the practice mode options. So there's a few different ones. The first one, very basic. Instead of hitting start, hitting retry and waiting for the screen to fade out and come back in, you can instead just hit up on the D-pad, which will instantly reset the current level back to the start. This also works in Grand Prix mode. Normally, Grand Prix mode cannot be reset. Resetting is quitting back to the main menu. However, hitting up on the D-pad will allow you to also reset Grand Prix mode. Now, there's another option for left on the D-pad. I've already hit it. Now I'm going to continue driving along the course, and I'm now going to hit right on the D-pad. And you'll see that my character has teleported back, the time has restarted. Additionally, all objects on the course will have reset into their other positions. This includes all other racers, any shells, bananas that are on the course, the train, the cars, and Toad's Turnpike and Calamari Desert. The entire game is restored back to the state when you pushed left on the D-pad. This is an effective save state that has been put into the console, similar to ones that you would normally have on an emulator. So again, I can hit right on the D-pad and instantly restore myself back to that position with the timer and everything else. One other thing I will go to showcase now as I proceed out to the end of the lap. There is another option that is useful for attempting fast lap practices. Normally with a fast lap, you would get right before the finish line, you would drift into the starting line to obtain a maximum speed when entering lap 2, and then you would proceed along lap 2 using all 3 mushrooms and hope that you get the right time. If you were to make any mistake, you would have to restart, drive all the way around the level, get set up, go into the second lap again, and retry from there. With the practice mode, this will be much easier. Instead, I'm going to get right before the finish line. I'm going to hit down on the D-pad. This is going to put the lap to lap 1. It's going to give me 3 mushrooms. It's going to set the timer to 1.5 minutes. I'm now going to save state by hitting left on the D-pad. I'm going to proceed in, drift into my lap, and attempt my fast lap for lap 2. Now, along the way, I make some type of mistake, or I'm somehow unhappy with the run. Normally, I would have to restart, drive back around, get prepared, and go back into the second lap again. Instead, I can just reload the save state by hitting right on the D-pad, and I'll be back into lap 1 right before a minute and a half, a minute 40, whatever it may be, and I can attempt the second lap again. Now, if for some terrible reason I should make a mistake and have a save state after all my mushrooms have been used, again, I can hit down on the D-pad. It'll set the lap to lap 1. It'll set the timer to a minute and a half. It will give me 3 mushrooms. So again, I can attempt my fast lap again, do another practice run. If I make a mistake, reset, load the save state, and go again. So these tools give you much quicker access to restarting and trying again and again and again and grinding out particular sections, as opposed to having to go through the hassle of going through the retry and setting yourself up for those particular sessions. Now there's another set of options available. When holding the L button, there is a split timer available that you could set for particular sections of the track. And I'm going to showcase how that works now. So I'm going to start right here. I want to time how long it takes me to get from this part of the track. I'm going to hold L and hit left on the D-pad. This is the start position, left on the D-pad. I'm now going to drive forward, and you can see the indicator on screen. That's what this uses. So it's not an XYZ value, it's not very precise. It uses the relative location based on that indicator that's going around the screen. So right here now, I'm going to hold L and hit right on the D-pad. I'm going to bring up the timer now and drive back before my first marker. So again, I've set my first marker with left, I've set my second marker, the end point, with right. I'm now going to drive back behind that position. I'm going to set a save state, just personally, by just tapping left on the D-pad. I'm now going to start the split timer. I'm going to hold L, and I'm going to hit up on the D-pad. You'll see that the timer has frozen to 3 seconds, or 3 milliseconds. That's technically 0. That's how the game displays 0. I'm now going to drive forward, and you'll notice once I enter that area, the split timer starts. It's now counting. I can proceed. And when I've gotten to the other end, the split timer will end. Now I know it took me 9.33 seconds to navigate that part of the course. I can reload my timer, start my split timer again. I should make a save state after starting the split timer. And now I can proceed forward again. Reattempt this split and try to perfect. It didn't work. That's unfortunate. Let's drive forward, set another marker. Holding L and hitting down on the D-pad will reset the timer, put it back. So again, I'm going to set my first marker here. Drive forward, set another marker here, just to showcase. Go back to before the marker, start the split timer, start a save state. It starts counting, it's going, and it stops. Now when I reload, okay, so the save timer is ready to go. Nope, alright, so unfortunately it doesn't look like the save states save the split timer. You'll have to reset that each time. I'll have to work on that in the future. But you can see the different modes that are available using the practice hack, as well as the details that pop up on the screen and the input display in the bottom right hand corner. Now, having showcased all of the mod options that are available, I'm going to go through now and showcase all 16 custom courses that are available as well with the OverKart ROM hack. So 16 custom levels are available on top of the 20 custom level or stock levels that come with the game. There are 16 race levels and 4 battle levels. I have created 16 new race levels on top of the existing ones. No options have to be enabled here. I'm just going to pop back out here again. Currently, it's only available in time trial or versus mode. the custom courses do not work in Grand Prix mode. Additionally, most of the levels, the custom levels, won't work well in 2-player or 3-player mode. On console, at least. On emulator, you shouldn't have any issues, but when playing on console, you'll see a pretty significant slowdown when playing with multiplayer. So for right now, for the most part, it's unfortunately only single player. To start off, at some point you have to load an original course just to get it up and playing. Once an original course has been loaded, you can go back to the course select screen. On the cup select screen, before you hit the A button, you're going to hit R one time, and you'll see that bring up custom set 1. If you hit it multiple times, you'll proceed up to set 4, or you can go back to the stock courses. Custom set 2, 3, and 4 are empty. If you try to load a course, the game will crash. Do not do that. Instead, load from custom set 1, and only after loading an original course, like Luigi's Raceway, Mario Raceway, any course is fine, but do not try to load a custom level without first loading an original level. I'm going to go through and play through all 16 now in order. The first one here should be Peach's Castle, unless my memory... No, it's Peach's Castle. Very good. So this one, obviously based off of the Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario 64 level, rather. Proceed straight, then to the left, into the metal cap cave. Out the metal cap cave, and then back to the starting line. So, fairly simple course, pretty in and out. The courtyard area in there is modeled. Unfortunately, I don't have transparency working well at this point. Takes a little bit of F3D coding that I haven't quite figured out. So for now, most levels don't have transparency, which is why you can see the fence is blacked out like it is. So again, Peach's Castle, fairly straightforward. First custom level. We're going to go ahead and move on to the second, move through these somewhat quickly. Level number 2 here is actually a fairly recent course. This one is called Goomba Mountain. Now there's 2 possible paths to take, and each of those paths splits and has potential shortcuts that you can take. So I'm going to start with the right path, the higher road. You can see this one does have transparency, but even here, it's not quite working right. So most of the levels, again, do not have transparency enabled for that reason. In some cases, the level crashes entirely, so such it is. As you can see, the mini-maps do not work. At some point, I might decide to do that, but it's been a running joke, and I kind of enjoy it, so I might not. This is the first fork. You can proceed right. However, if you have a mushroom, you can instead take this shortcut, which I missed, and proceed up onto the cliff. So we're going to do that again. Here we are. Proceed up onto the cliffs. Give myself the 3 mushrooms back. From there, you would jump off here. If you didn't take that path, there's just a small roundabout you would take that takes a slight bit longer. This comes back to another fork where several paths merge together. That leads back to the finish line. We're now going to take the opposite road and go left on the bottom half. So, driving down this way, we go under the road that we went over originally, and then proceed to the second half of the level, the other half. So this one actually has 2 potential for shortcuts. Both of them need a mushroom. So the first one here is a jump over a pit, and then the next one again is a jump onto a ledge. Lets you cut out a little bit of time. Those are pretty tough to hit with Bowser, much easier to hit with Toad and Peach and Yoshi. And again, with multiplayer, I definitely recommend using the... I have the split timer on still, that's funny. Good lap times, I suppose. Anyway, moving on, we're going to go ahead and showcase the next level. This one is Luigis Mansion. So definitely takes a bit of inspiration from Banshee Boardwalk. Another ghost level. A nice ominous purple sky. A lot of it doesn't seem too recognizable. It's a very dark level, but when you finally come along this last jump here, back towards the start of the race, you can clearly see Boo's level from Mario 64 with King Boo at the very top. So finishing around this corner is a lap, and you would proceed on to lap 2. So not much else to show besides that, other than the fountain that you would see in the back of Peach's Castle, that was also shown in Peach's Castle, has been dropped into here as well, sort of as an homage to how you would be entering this area normally with in Mario 64. And one last look at King Boo, very top there, before we move on to the next level. This is Mushroom Valley. This was the first real custom level I made. There was a prototype before this, and there were other levels made by other people before me, 2 of them. But this was the first true custom level that I put together, Mushroom Valley here. Proceeding around, just one trek next to those piranha plants, some trees up on the ledge. And you're going to proceed down underneath, somewhat similar to Goomba Mountain, down into here. Another long bend around a long grass area. Usually quicker to cut through that, actually, but we're going to go the intended way and take the road. Road leads to a nice jump. Which brings us back home to the finish line. So there is a small area of fright here where you could potentially fall off and end up back at the start, but we're going to proceed into lap 2 instead. Not too much else to show really, so we'll just go ahead right on to the second cup. This is Toad's Village. So, you're able to see the little mushroom houses with the doors. Long drop down there. Again, some more mushroom houses. Tight turn there, real hairpin. You can't make it with drifting, you have to hop in order not to go out into the grass. Bring it back in for a lap. So again, not too much going on here, just the houses, the surrounding hillside. Falling into certain areas are out of bounds, it'll bring you back. Make sure that the player stays in the course. Moving on to the next one. This one is Jolly Roger Shore. So it's a beach level inspired by Jolly Roger Bay from Super Mario 64. We have the 4 treasure chests that would zap you if you tried to get them in the incorrect order. Dock here leads out to a jump onto the boat from Jolly Roger Bay. Jump onto the boat and then back out the front, leading back to another dock that takes you to shore. The eel is there. Fall quite a bit through the water. The eel, again, located right there. And as you can see off in the distance from Tiny Huge World, I don't remember the name of the level, the fish that it would always eat you. Someone caught fish, brought him up to shore, he's not going to be a problem anymore. Real short laps, 15, 14 second laps. In some cases you can get them real down. So Nice quick course, real technical though, tight spots on these docks, and having to jump over them for the best time, a lot like Banshee Boardwalk. Not very forgiving, really requires you to be on point, so fun course to run. I'd say about half of these have items for multiplayer. That was a glitch I realized about halfway through with my item lists, so about half of these should have items for multiplayer. The other half will not, unfortunately. That as well can be fixed in a future release. This one is Donkey Kong's Jungle Japes. So, 2 shortcuts available here. This first one off to the left that leads to another boost ramp here. If you had taken that boost ramp straight, it would have just been a few seconds longer as you took a couple U-turns to get to this same spot. We'll showcase that on lap 2, it's not too long of course. This next jump, also very difficult to pull off. You can't make it with a mushroom alone. You actually have to drift into the turn and then use the mushroom. Even then, I didn't quite make it. I'd slowed down too much in the grass. So I'm going to lose some time from having fallen down. Would have been quicker to, again, having taken that U-turn around. But we'll come up on lap 2, just showcase the other way, and then proceed on to the next course again. So coming here again, if you hadn't gone over that little ledge to the left, get a nice big jump before coming crashing down through a U-turn here. And then this section here is where the ledge falls off. So you lose a few seconds not taking the shortcut. Definitely pays to steer to the left off that jump. But also kind of tricky to hit. You don't want to miss it, tumble down, waste even more time. So this one, the most recent course, Lava Land. Again, taking inspiration from Mario 64. This one showcases some pretty noticeable glitches. A few of the levels will. Those, again, will be worked out in time. Don't quite have everything figured out yet, but I'll be able to show off exactly what I mean in just a moment or so. Another short level, not too much going on to it. Tight pads near the lava, right here. Yeah, you can see it suddenly freak out. I have a rough idea of why it's happening, but obviously not enough to fix it, so in time. But normally you, again, start the lap right here, you go left over a few jumps, and then into the volcano itself, just briefly, or popping back out the other side. Big bully sitting on his platform, the rolling... Oh, I missed. The rolling log thing, whatever you want to call it, as well, both from Lava Land. Can't seem to get that jump quite right. It's very easy to do. It's not even that far over. Oh, whatever. I'm not going to sit there again. I just missed that one, too. That's great. Continuing on. So this one here is Snowmans Mountain. Combination of items from Snowman's Land as well as Cool Cool Mountain. So you do notice a bit of slowdown on the console in certain areas. That will definitely be fixed. That is going to be the same thing you notice in multiplayer. Right now, a lot of shortcuts were taken to design a bunch of these levels, and as such, they render way too much geometry. That will be able to be changed, and when that is, the games will render much better because of it. Again, you only really notice that on the console. On the emulator, it's not an issue. So, having explained that, I failed to explain anything in the level, which means we get another lap. We start right next to there with the penguin, whose baby you would save, or whom you would race down the hill. The snowman, whose head you put together, 3 of them you pass by. They actually are standing on their pedestal as well. You can't quite see it, but if you get at the right angle, you'll be able to. Around this corner is the giant snowman, at the top of which is a star. There's the pedestals, you can see those now. And then here another penguin with the baby penguin next to it. the house that you would jump into to race the penguin with the chimney, and at the end of the lap, bringing it back home. So, going on to the next level now. This is Bob-omb Battlefield. It should be pretty instantly recognizable to anyone who's gotten anywhere near Super Mario 64. It is the first level with very small adjustments, just this hill here for the most part, and a little bit of cleaning up to the geometry. So proceeding along the back, there's two options. You can either take the intended route down below, which leads out here to a small variation again to lead back to the starting line. So a bit of change compared to the original course. Again, that is the normal route, the intended route. However, the much more fun route is to go this way instead. I'm going to put a save state here, and go flying off of this jump, because, I mean, who doesn't love going flying off jumps? Additionally, if you're real good, you might be able to make your way all the way up to the top of the mountain. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make you guys work for it yourselves, but when you get up there, it's well worth it. And if you're even better, you can actually make the jump out to the flying island, which I did not think would be possible, and which the speedrunners got finished in about 5 minutes, so hats off to them for always doing what I think they won't. Next level here is Toad Town Sewers. So from Paper Mario, the sewers level, located underneath the Toad Town. This would connect all the different parts of the game together and provide some available bosses and super upgrades, things of that nature. You can see a super block hidden over there. Doesn't do anything, of course, because this is Mario Kart, but it's a nice little bit of theming. You proceed through these twisting green pipes. And then go through another set of green pipes again over here. So a little bit of slowdown again. That will definitely be able to be improved significantly. Right now, again, in many scenarios, the entire course is being rendered when only small sections of it need to be. A lot of shortcuts taken to get these put out, but now I get to go back and fine-tune and improve all of them with a bit more attention given to each one. So, rather long lap, takes about a minute to get through those two pipe sections and the accompanying stone pathways, whatever these are. So, minute lap, and we'll move on to the next one. Alright, this is Decay Aztec Temple. So, obviously based off of Angry Aztec from Donkey Kong 64. A lot of theming items brought in here. You can see the different temple pieces in the background. All of those are accessible. You're able to drive on all of them. Only exception being Candy's music shop. There's just no way to get out that far. Everything else is accessible except for that one. I suppose if you did a computer jump where you bounce off of the computer and fly over there, you could certainly do it with that. But outside of that, no easy way to get over to Candy's music shop. Pretty simple lap. You go around that cool curve section here, the banked turns. This area is dirt, slowing you down, and then come back up, finish the lap. Not much else to show. We're going to go out to the last cup now, showcase these last 4 levels. This one is Yoshi's Tropics. So based off of Mario Party, Yoshi's Tropical Island, we have a course here. Follows the same general path you would go about progressing across that level playing Mario Party. The thwomps on the bridges have been removed. We don't have custom objects yet. Maybe that's something we could put in at a later date. But you're crossing the island here to the other half, and in the center here. Kind of hard to see, but I'm looking at right now center island where Yoshi would normally be stuck. So, very large course. Gotta go around the other half here now. Both sides are mirror images of one another, so one side is the same as the other. And then we proceed, after going to the top half, back across another bridge to the first island, and this is where we'll complete the lap. Alright, and so it is. Very long lap, very large course. 3 more to show. Warios Casino. So, some slot machines, some poker tables, some portraits of Wario on the wall, a roulette wheel, giant pile of gold, all things you'd expect to find in a casino run by Wario. Carpet slows you down because Wario never vacuums and cleans out his carpet, so you have to stay on the red part. A couple holes in the level. Saw one back there a second ago, another one right here. You don't fall through them, thankfully. Again, something that'll be fixed. And a lap completed. Now you'll notice you can't cash out. Ticket booths are closed. You can go ahead and gamble your money, but be damned if you're going to take any of it home. That's how Wario's Casino works. So, as one might expect. Second to last level here. This is Luigis Mansion. So starting off in a bedroom area, dressers and beds. Proceeding up into a kitchen area with various stovetops, sinks, furnaces, counters. Up again to a bathroom with various tubs and sinks and warped pipe toilets. And falling down into a library. Bookcases on the walls. Lovely piano there that isn't jumping out and eating us. A furnace in the library, lit. And another drop down into the basement. Again, boxes, couple furnaces. Leading back up, completing a lap. One final course to show. This is Bowser's 8-4, the grand finale. Based off of the Super Mario Brothers level from the Nintendo rather. Bowser's 8-4 is World 8-4, the final Bowser Castle. So starting in the upstairs area, a couple lava pits here. We are in a room with one there. But proceeding along the path and down here, we see the endless sea of lava in front of us. A spiral around this turn. Oh. And a sharp left into the basement. Basement themed after the underwater areas. You also notice the Super Nintendo Bowser levels have the cages where the Koopas would be climbing across. Again, no transparency at this moment, but at some point that's going to look really good. Potential shortcut there. We're not going to use it because we're just going to go around here instead. And this is where the shortcut would have landed us, so not much gained. big looping area here. A little bit of slowdown coming out of this section. We're basically rendering the entire level from that view. Again, unfortunate. We'll be able to fix all of this, make it run much better. Just takes a lot more time to do that, and a lot more tedious work to do that. But coming up here, pulling around the last turn, we again happen upon that same sea of lava we saw before, now from a different perspective on the other side of this wall. And that brings us back home. So, 16 brand new custom levels. A smorgasbord of new custom hacks and speedrun add-ons and various modes. Additionally, there's 3 or 4 additional hacks that are always running. The view distance has been quadrupled. You're able to see 4 times as far as you normally would be. It has no impact on performance. The rendering isn't affected by view distance, so we maxed it out. We didn't max it out, but we jacked it way up. For the player selection, multiple players can select the same character. Kind of a moot point, considering you can use the character stats option to set everybody to the same stats. But still, if you have 2 people that insist on being Yoshi, there won't be any more arguments there. There's also a mode that enables music in 4-player mode. Again, no impact to the performance, so that has been turned back on and enabled. All of those things are running in the practice, or just in the hack always, without any settings or anything to enable, as well as all the options that are able to be turned on and off in the main menu here. So 16 custom levels, whole bunch of new options and great things. Definitely worth trying out. The download link is going to be in the description below and in the comments below. You have to have your own copy of Mario Kart 64, of course, but you can apply the patch provided to that copy and play this new version here. So I'd like to thank everybody who has provided work to this. Long list of people. I'll be making sure to put as many of their names as I can remember in the description down below as well. It's definitely a project, a collaboration with a ton of different people having helped. Greatly appreciate all the work that we've all put in throughout the past year or so to get this running. So again, download link down below. Thank you guys for being interested in this and showing support and comments and things like that. Certainly let me know what you think, what needs to be worked on, what you would like to see next, and where OverKart should go from here. So build 4 maybe will be coming sometime soon. We'll see what it brings. Until then, as always, you guys take care.